Hello grade 9, how are you today? I hope you're doing fine. So in this video, it's just a clarification for some exercise in your activity book for the female reproductive system that some people ask me, okay? And I know it's a little bit hard. That's why I'm gonna explain to you how to solve them, okay? So it's from page 70 and 71 from your activity book. So this one. Felicia writes a name on her calendar to mark the day she starts menstruating. Below is her calendar for October. Indicate the menstrual phase, the proliferation phase, the ovulation, and the secretory phase on the calendar. So before we answer the question, we need to find the menstrual phase, proliferation phase, ovulation, and secretory phase. Okay. Before we do all of this, the easiest way is to find the ovulation phase, okay? Because it's the middle. When we find the ovulation, the secretory phase will be just after, and the proliferation phase is gonna be after, okay? So if her cycle starts here, so October 2, here is the first day she menstruates. We need to count to see how long is her cycle. How do I identify? By count from one menstrual date to another. So let's count with me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So we have a cycle of 25 days, okay? And now I need to find the ovulation. How do I find the ovulation? The ovulation is in the middle. If you see this diagram here, here is the day 1, and the ovulation will be in the middle. In this one is 28 days, so the ovulation will be in the 14, okay? And it's the middle. If her cycle is 25 days, her proliferation will be in the middle. 25 divided by 2 is 12, right? So I'm saying it's in the 13th day, in the middle. 12 before, 12 after, 1 day of ovulation. How do I identify the ovulation? I count from day 1 until I find the 13th day. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So here is going to be my ovulation date. Oops, sorry. So my ovulation will be here in the day October 14th. Okay, now it's going to be easier. The menstrual phase will be usually 5 days, as you can see in this diagram, from day 1 to day 5. Okay, and the proliferation phase just after the menstrual phase before the ovulation. So, or the ovulation includes the proliferation phase, okay? So menstrual phase 5 days, and proliferation phase that can vary between 6 to 14 days. In this case, it's 7 plus 1, 8 days usually. And then the secretory phase is just after the ovulation and before the next cycle. So here is all the secretory phase. It's half of the cycle after the ovulation and before the next menstrual period. Okay, so that's why it's easier to find the ovulation first, and then you can know that the proliferation menstrual phase is just before and secretory phase is just after. Okay, so that's it. We found the menstrual phase, proliferation phase, ovulation, and secretory phase. Okay, this one up. Allison is comparing her menstrual cycle to her friend's cycles. She knows hers lasts 32 days, and she has calculated that she will next menstruate on December 15. She would like to know which part of her cycle differs in length from her friend's cycle. So here I'm going to put the calendar and the questions. I'm not going to answer the questions directly and not in this order. Okay, I'm going to answer the questions in the easiest way possible. The first thing we need to identify is that she told me her cycle is 32 days and she menstruates on December 15, or she's going to menstruate on December 15. So this is the most important date that I need to focus, the first day of my menstruation. Okay, so the first day of my menstruation is my day 1 in my cycle here. And I know her cycle is 32 days. Okay, it was informed. If her cycle is 32 days, the ovulation will be in the middle. So the middle is 32 divided by 2, 16. So 16, 17, okay, in the middle. So I'm going to count here to find the ovulation date. Here's the day 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, or 17. So I put these two ovulation date, okay? If you put just 16, that's also fine, okay? So circle in red the day when Allison will ovulate. So letter B is done. We already find. Now, which part is the same as from other women and which part differs? What differs a lot is the menstrual phase and the proliferation phase. And what's usually similar is the secretory phase, okay? The proliferation and menstrual phase here is going to be around 15 days because her cycle is 32 days. So from the first day of menstruation until the end will be menstrual phases. She didn't mention, but can be 5 days. And the proliferation phase, all the others, including the ovulation. Because I don't have the calendar for January here, I'm gonna count the secretary just before the menstrual phase, but it's the same, okay? Because I had another one, just always like that. So shade in blue the part of Allison's cycles that will differ. So what is differ? Usually is the menstrual and the proliferation phase, okay? So it's in blue. And now there's a circle in green, the part of Allison's cycle that's generally the same. What's generally the same is the secretory phase. So secretory phase, another 15 days, just before the menstrual phase. So 1, 2, or after the ovulation, but I'm counting before the menstrual. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 here in November. Okay, so it's gonna be my secretory phase, I'm circulating in green. Okay, this is not so exact like that. If you put just 60 day for ovulation, it's also fine. Okay, so that's it for this exercise. Let's do the next one. Okay, number 8. Match each event in the ovarian cycle to the corresponding event in the menstrual cycle. Okay, to do this exercise, I'm gonna check on this information from your book. Okay, you have this in your book that shows you the ovarian cycle and the endometrium or the menstrual cycle. So let's do the first one. The ovarian follicles matures. So here you need to understand that in the beginning we have the ovarian follicle and it matures. So it's maturing in this period here. Okay, that's divide, transforming the oocyte. That's another class, another lecture, and liberate the oocyte here. So all this period here is the maturation. Okay, so the ovarian follicle matures. When this is happening, what's happening? Menstruation is about to begin. So let's check here. Here's written menstruation, and this red lines here is the endometrial thickness. Why this is going down? Because the endometrium is losing, okay? So the endometrium is getting thin. So the ovarian follicle cycles is the beginning of the menstruation? No, right? Because the menstruation is just before that. Okay, so it's not the first option. The ovarian follicle matures, the menstruation ends, and the endometrium begins to thin. So this starts when the menstruation ends, and the endometrium starts to begin to thicken. Yes, right. So the maturation of the ovarian follicle starts just after the menstruation finish and when the endometrium starts to thicken. Okay, so this one gonna be menstruation ends and the endometrium begins to thicken. B. The coproluteum disintegrates and dies. So here I have the coproluteus and disintegrates and die. What happens just after this? After the coproluteus disintegrates and dies. So I come back here. I start the menstrual phase. So when the coproluteus disintegrates and dies, menstruation is about to begin. Okay? And the other one, the ovarian follicle is transformed into a coproluteus. So when the ovarian follicle, I'm gonna put it, so this part here starts to is transformed into a corpus luteus. What's happening to the endometrium? So the endometrium thickens, right? It's getting bigger. So the endometrium thickens. Okay, so this one you should check in this picture for you to understand what's going on. Okay, the next one, 9. The illustration opposite shows the variation in hormone levels in blood during an ovarian cycle. So you have a picture very similar in your textbook. So I'm going to put here for us to identify. Name the hormone represented by each line in the illustration. The blue line is what? So the blue line, LH. The green line, so check here. So the green line is FSH. So FSH. The red line is estrogen. And the brown line is the progesterone. Okay? I don't want you to know this by heart. Just understand how to read this graph. Okay? That's it. I just look in the graph and compared. But the same question, which of the 3 vertical dot lines marks the time of ovulation? So we need to check this graph together with the ovarian cycle, okay? Because this is related. So which of the 3 vertical dot lines mark the time of ovulation? So let's check in the graph here. The ovulation is happening here, right? And what's happening here? Here, if I go up, which part of my graph in the left side is that one? A, B, or C? It's a little dislocated, but that's okay. So it's B, right? And why? Because the high level of LH initiates the ovulation. Okay, so the high level of LH that we have here stimulates the ovulation. The same question, which of the 3 vertical dot lines mark the beginning of menstruation? So I know the menstruation happens just after the coproluteum disintegrates. Okay, so the menstruation is happening here. See? Which line better describes? The A. And in this one, I can see that my progesterone is decreasing, is the lowest level. So A, because the production of progesterone decreases due to deterioration of the corpus luteum. So when the corpus luteum disintegrates, the progesterone decreases, and then the endometrium begins to lose and starts with the menstruation. And last one for this one. Which one of the 3 vertical dot lines marks the time when corpus luteum is most active? So when marks the corpus luteum is most active. So corpus luteum active is usually here. See? It's the most active. And here we can see the highest level of progesterone because corpus luteum produces this progesterone. So if I compare with the left one, is the letter C. See? Yeah. Okay. So C, because there is high production of progesterone. And why did I relate? Because I know corpus luteus produces progesterone. So if I have high production of progesterone, it means I have the micropluteus is the most active. Okay? And one more. The illustration below shows the variation in the thickness of the endometrium during a menstrual cycle. Which of the three vertical dot lines marks the end of menstruation? So here I'm gonna put all of those together. So which of the three vertical dot lines mark the end of menstruation? So see, if this one is the endometrium, what's going to be the end of menstruation? So here is the beginning of menstruation, A, and my endometrium loose, so bronze thing. And here the B means that my menstruation finished. So here I can see menstruation getting down. So my B, it marks because it's the lowest level of the endometrium thickness. Okay. Okay, guys. So that's it. If you still have any question, let me know. Okay. I hope this clarifies. Thank you so much for watching.